What are you doing with that bike? Says Ove at last. I promised to fix it up for my girlfriend. She lives there. The youth answers, nodding at the house at the far end of their row opposite Anita and Rune's place. The one where the recycling types live when they're not in Thailand or wherever they go. Or, she's not my girlfriend yet, but I'm thinking I'm wanting her to be, sort of thing. Ove scrutinizes the youth as middle aged men often scrutinize younger men who seem to invent their own grammar as they go along. So, have you got any tools then? He asks. The youth shakes his head. How are you going to repair a bike without tools? Ove marvels, more with genuine surprise than agitation. The youth shrugs. Don't know. Why did you promise to repair it then? The youth kicks the snow, scratches his face with his entire hand, embarrassed. Because I love her. Oh, I can't quite decide what to say to that one. So he rolls up the local newspaper and envelope and slaps it into his palm like a baton. I have to get going, the youth mumbles almost inaudibly and makes a movement to turn around again. Come over after work, then I'll get the bike out for you. Ove's words seem to pop up out of nowhere. But you have to bring your own tools, he asks. The youth brightens up. You serious, man? Ove continues slapping the paper baton into his hand. The youth swallows. Awesome. Wait. Shit. I can't pick it up today. I have to go to my other job. But tomorrow, man, I can come tomorrow. Is it cool if I pick it up tomorrow, like instead? Ove tilts his head and looks as if everything that's just been said came from the mouth of a character in an animated film. The youth takes a deep breath and pulls himself together. What other job? Asks Ove, as if he's had an incomplete answer in the final of Jeopardy. I sort of work in a cafe in the evenings and at the weekends, says the youth, with the new one hope in his eyes about perhaps being able to rescue his fantasy relationship with a girlfriend who doesn't even know what that she's his girlfriend. The sort of relationship that only a boy in late puberty with greasy hair can have. I need both jobs because I'm saving money, he explains. For what? A car. Ova can't avoid noticing how he straightens up slightly when he says car. Ova looks dubious for a moment. Then he slowly but watchfully slaps the button into his palm again. What sort of car? I had a look at a Renault. The youth says brightly, stretching a little more. The air around the two men stops for a hundredth of breath or so. An eerie silence suddenly envelops him. If this was a scene from a film, the camera would very likely have time to pan 360 degrees around them before Owen finally loses his composure. Renault? Renault? That's bloody French! You can't bloody well go and buy a French car. The youth seems just about to say something, but he doesn't get the chance before Ove shakes his whole upper body as if trying to get rid of a persistent wasp. Christ, you puppy! Don't you know anything about cars? The youth shakes his head. Ove sighs deeply and puts his hand on his forehead as if he's been struck by a sudden migraine. And how are you going to get the bicycle to the cafe if you don't have a car? He says at long last, visibly struggling to regain his composure. I hadn't thought about that, says the youth. Ove shakes his head. Reynard, Christ almighty. The youth nods. Ove rubs his eyes in frustration. Where's this sodding cafe you work at then? He mutters. 20 minutes later, Patane opens her front door in surprise. Ove is standing outside, thoughtfully striking his hand with a paper button. Have you got one of those green signs? What? You have to have one of those green signs when you're a learner driver. Do you have one or not? She nods. Yeah, yes, I have, but what? I'll come and pick you up in 2 hours. We'll take my car. Ove turns round and tramps back across the littered road without waiting for an answer.